Hi everyone, I am Professor Strickland and I wanted to do just a little intro since you guys usually don't see me in the class. Wanted to just talk a little bit about the mechanics of the course and kind of get you started the first week and tell you a little bit about how the course is going to go. First, this is abnormal psychology. So this is actually my field. So I hope you will love it at the end of the semester as much as I like all of the clinical and counseling psychology. The first week, what I need you to do is just to make sure that you are into the D2L. There were some situations this past summer where students logged on to D2L and they didn't see their class. So make sure when you log into D2L that you see Strickland, Abnormal Psychology, I think it's CLP 2140. Just make sure you see that. Click onto the class and you will see an announcement. I think I've made an announcement like welcome to abnormal psychology. So just make sure you see that. If you see that announcement, you're in. You're in the class, you're good to go. Second thing you need to do once you're into the class and make sure that you're uploaded is to get a copy of the syllabus. I have the syllabus in the D2L program. So if you click on content and it drops down, you will see the syllabus. So click on the syllabus. I think it says content or something. Yeah, it's like assignments and then content. Everything you need to know is in that syllabus. This syllabus tells you my email, tells you my number. In fact, what I'm probably going to do, because I did it this summer and it worked out fantastic, is give you my cell number. So I'll probably email you that or put it on the announcement. And that worked out fantastic because if you had a problem, students were able to text me right away and say, hey, it's so-and-so, I'm in your abnormal, something happened with the exam, I got knocked out, and I will know immediately and I can get back to you. I'm in and out of my office all the time, and so it's just really hard to check. And I do, of course, check the emails, but it's just easier if you just let me know or text me what's going on, and I can say, hey, I'll check in a few hours, and I'll get back to you. So I want to try to get the turnaround faster. Sometimes with emails, you have to log into the system and check. Texting, you've got it, and I'm right there, and I can check, and I can text you back going, hey, I'm not at the house yet, but I'll check as soon as I get back. So I'll probably do that the first week. So what you need to do is get a copy of the syllabus because it is some vital information. It does tell you the textbook. I sent an email out about the textbook, and I'll probably send another one out because I know people are still registering. So I will do that. If you didn't receive my email, don't worry. I'll send another one out about the textbook. But the textbook information is there. College resources. If this is your, you know, I guess it would be your second semester because you need general psychology to take my abnormal. So you kind of know, the routine of how it works. So make sure you have that. And at the very end is a course schedule. Now that's usually what's most important to students besides the distribution of how the grades work, is that course schedule. I even put the dates on this syllabus this time. So not only will I make an announcement each week telling you what's due, you also have that schedule on what is due. Now for me, I consider Monday the beginning of the week, Sunday the end of the week. And so when students say, well, when is that assignment due? Anytime during the week. You have all week to do it. If you want to knock it out on a Monday, Tuesday, that's fine. Get it done and keep up with it. Make sure you keep up with it. That schedule tells you everything that has to be done. This is what we're working on. So make sure that you kind of check that besides my announcements each week. I've been teaching abnormal behavior, abnormal psychology. I checked the other day, I think 19 years. I've been teaching it a long time. And I found the best way to teach this class is to give you case studies. I can't put patients on there for you, but to give you case studies. Now these are actual patients, and of course names have changed, but it gives you an idea about how patients work and how we work through looking at diagnosing criteria and how we make assessments. And so each week, once we get into the chapters and get into all the disorders, especially when we start with stress disorders, PTSD, we're going to start with that, you'll have a case study with each of those patients. Don't worry about it so much. This week I will make an announcement about the case studies and how that's going to work. That's part of your assignment. That's a big part of it because it helps you to kind of apply what you're reading in your chapters as far as looking at all the criteria for the disorders. It kind of helps you apply that information in kind of real narrative situations. These were patients that psychologists and psychiatrists had. They they wrote up these case studies and changed the names, and they provide it for us who are teaching clinical psychology or abnormal psychology, whatever you want to, universities call it different things, psychopathology. And it kind of gives students an idea about how we have worked with patients and how we kind of interact with patients and how we do assessments. The first few chapters are kind of the baseline for this course. It will tell you a little. It's going to discuss a little bit about how we define abnormal psychology and how we have built a diagnostical and statistical manual of mental illnesses and how that has progressed through the years since the early 1950s all the way to now. We are in the DSM-5 that came out July 31st, 2013. I was excited, and because it was interesting for me to see, the changes that were made. A lot of changes were made. We took out some disorders. We rearranged some disorders. We no longer have Asperger's. We just do autism spectrum disorder. We added some disorders for you gamers, and so that kind of gives a new perspective on how we look at environments and look at all the changes that take place. And once we get kind of that foundation, we'll move forward. The next chapter, don't worry about chapter 2. The next chapter deals with causation, and that's what a lot of people ask me. Not so much about the diagnosing, we have that down pat, but kind of what's causing the disorder. What is the causation? So that will be the next foundation of your chapter. And then chapter 4 gives you assessment. So, that kind of gives you that baseline for us to go into the disorders. But the first week, kind of just get yourself settled, get a copy of the textbook, and again, I'll email you information. And if you would like to go ahead and start reading chapter 1, please do. That gives you a really good idea about how we define it in my profession as clinical counseling, how we kind of define abnormality and how we, I guess, give perspective to the world and in humans in general when it comes to this field. So I'm excited to have you in abnormal psychology. I think that it really will help you give boundaries and define how we actually go about making those assessments, how we go about treating people. Treatment's always a big deal, and how we do the research. That's what most of us do. Most of us who are in the field are researchers. We research this. All of us in the field, as far as clinical and counseling psychologists, we have specializations that we have kind of devoted our interest in. And a lot of students really at the end of the semester find out, hey, I really like the psychotic disorders of schizophrenia. I like the serial killers. Yeah, we do the serial killers. I'm very interested in mood disorders. I know someone who has bipolar disorder, and I'm interested in that. So I think it will give you kind of a perspective of all the different disorders that we're going to go into. So I'm excited to have you in abnormal psych. Once the semester gets started, I'll give you my number. That way you can reach me right away. And again, each week I will tell you what is going on. And I hope that by the end of the semester you will find abnormal psychology fantastic. It is something that we hear every single day in our social media, conversations with people that we know. It's becoming more and more a talking point, and hopefully you'll have that educational background to give a more educational perspective into my field of abnormal psychology. So just make sure that you're into D2L, and we'll go from there. So excited to have you in class.